For the longest time, I was convinced that the reason I was exhausted and hitting an income ceiling was that I wasn't good enough at 3D. I thought if I just got better at rendering, that the money would follow, but I was wrong. By focusing 100% of my energy on the work, I was neglecting the only thing that actually builds wealth. And when I left my in-house job, I told myself I'm great at 3D, so I'll succeed on my own. But the reality was I hadn't built a business. I built myself a stressful, exhausting job where I was the only employee and I was a terrible boss to myself. I was stuck in this loop. The more I was focused on doing the work, the less I was focused on finding the work. And the moment I stopped rendering, the cash flow stopped. It took me years, but I eventually fixed this by making one specific shift. In this video, I'm going to share exactly what changed my career and allowed me to finally scale. So step one for me was identifying the trap, and after reading the E-Myth, I realized that most of us are stuck because we're confusing being good at the work with being good at running a business. I was a great technician, but I was an amateur business owner, and that created a hard ceiling. There was a cap on how many hours I could physically work in a day, and I realized I couldn't hustle my way out of a broken system. So to grow, I had to stop working in the business 100% of the time and start working on it. And I remember what I was thinking back then. I've got deadlines, I've got clients to serve, and I don't have time for strategy. But the reality was staying in technician mode was guaranteed burnout. It was like trying to build this massive complex scene, but I was building it with broken geometry, flip normals, and bad layers. And it looked okay from a distance, but the moment I tried to render it, it fell apart. You can't brute force a business that has broken typology. So before I could start to scale, I had to clean up the model. To fix this, I had to accept a weird reality. I wasn't just one person in a business, I was actually 3 people, and because I was ignoring 2 of them, I was failing. I started looking at my business like a construction site. First off, I had a technician. This was the person doing the modeling, the lighting, the post-production, and this was who I was 99% of the time. On a construction site, this is the bricklayer. The bricklayer shows up, they mix the cement, and they stack the bricks. They are focused on the labor. Second, I had the manager. The manager creates the timelines, organizes the workload, and handles the client emails. And this was the role I was neglecting. On site, this is the foreman. The foreman doesn't lay bricks, they hold the clipboard. They make sure the materials arrive on time and the crew is efficient. They basically turn the blueprint into a plan. Third, I had the entrepreneur. This was the role I was completely blind to. The entrepreneur defines the strategy, the pricing, the marketing. And on our site, this is the architect. The architect draws the blueprints. They look at the empty site and they decide what we are building and why. They hold the vision, and here was my problem. I was acting purely as a bricklayer. I was working incredibly hard, sweating over every pixel, but I was showing up to an empty site every morning with no foreman, no blueprints, just randomly throwing a pile of bricks at mud, hoping it would accidentally turn into a house. No planning, no systems, just manual labor, and that is exhausting. So I ran a test on myself. I heard once that you can tell a person's true priorities by looking at 2 things, their bank statement and their calendar. And when I looked at my calendar, 100% of my time was blocked out for bricklaying. I had allocated 0 hours to the foreman's systems, and I'd allocated 0 hours to the architect's strategy. And when I looked at my bank account, it showed. So how do we actually fix this? The solution was to spend time in each of the 2 neglected roles. And not only that, it was to make sure that I wasn't jumping randomly between the roles. I made a rule of thumb: if I'm the technician, then I'm only going to be the technician. I switched off my emails, phone was away, and I'd build. But I had to schedule specific, non-negotiable blocks of time for the other 2 roles. So let's take a look at the manager role. Instead of reinventing the wheel every time I got a new client, I got the manager to build a system. So for example, every time I started a project, I was wasting hours manually creating file structures and building every scene from scratch, and that was a mess. Now I have a system. When I put on my manager hat, I organized the site. I created a client onboarding process so nothing gets missed. And most importantly, I built files where my lighting, render settings, and layers are pre-built. So by spending time being a manager, I saved the technician hours of stress later in the week. The manager protects the technician's time. Then there is the entrepreneur role, and this was the scariest one for me. This is where I had to stop looking at pixels and start looking at profitability. I had to ask hard questions like, is this project actually making money? This is where I stopped waiting for the phone to ring and started building systems to generate leads and referrals, because if you don't schedule this, it won't happen. And if it doesn't happen, you're going to finish a project and have no idea where the next one is coming from. So put simply, the technician is doing the work, the manager is organizing the work, and the entrepreneur is designing the business. So if you're stuck currently being an exhausted technician and want help with the manager and entrepreneur roles, then check out my Future-Proof 3D Artist program, where we show you how to position your work, build a portfolio that attracts the right clients, price properly, and create a repeatable way to get work. So this comes straight from the E-Myth philosophy of documenting everything. If you do something more than once, then you must document it. So one example is this very simple project tracker. And if you take a look at the list, we have welcome email sent, deposit received, reference images collected, mid-project update sent, final files delivered, and testimonial requested. So it looks simple and boring, right? But when I get a new client, I don't panic. I just look at the list. The manager in me built this list so the technician in me doesn't have to think. I just follow the steps. So there's this great book called the Checklist Manifesto that explains why surgeons and pilots use simple checklists. And it's not because they don't know what they're doing, it's because under stress, even experts miss steps. So checklists remove reliance on memory. So this list frees up my mental RAM so I can use my judgment for the creative work, not remembering if an invoice has been sent. And here's the ultimate test I use on my systems. I ask myself, could I hand this checklist to a junior and have them deliver 80% of the result without me? And if the answer is yes, then I've built a system. The final piece of the puzzle was fixing my feast or famine cycle. So the hard truth about building a client list is no one grows it by accident. It's all very intentional. The old me used to base this on emotion or mood. I'd think, oh, I'll jump on LinkedIn right now, I'll like a few posts, maybe a comment, and then I'd ghost the platform for a couple of weeks until I got desperate for work again. And this is exactly how a technician operates without a manager. It's sporadic, emotional, and ineffective. When you apply the 3 roles, this changes. So the entrepreneur says, we're going to grow by building visibility on LinkedIn. The manager says, we'll engage 15 minutes daily on posts from architects, designers, and developers. And the technician opens LinkedIn and actually comments and replies. Most people, if they always stay as technicians, just open up LinkedIn and start commenting and replying sporadically. The entrepreneur makes the decision that this is where we're going to focus our energy, and the manager says, okay, this is the system we're going to use. The manager makes the plan, and it could look like add people daily, so 10 to 20 new connections in our niche on LinkedIn. We're going to engage, so we'll comment on potential clients' posts, not just great work, but actually insightful comments. We message new connections, simple, helpful value at first, no hard selling, and then we'll post weekly, so we'll share tips, case studies, and visuals. And when I started doing this, I realized something huge. You don't need to go viral, you don't need 1 million views, you just need a system. By being consistent, tracking the outcomes, and adjusting, I stopped hoping for clients to find me, and I started going out and getting them. So there's only so fast you can run, and when you hit max speed as a technician, you become your own bottleneck. But when you build systems, when you respect the manager and the entrepreneur, you stop being the bottleneck. You start building a machine that works for you. You don't need to be exhausted from the constant hustle. So building systems takes time, and it took me years to figure this out alone. But if you want to install all these systems into your business faster, I run a community called Future-Proof 3D Artists. We help artists build these specific systems, design their offers, and get better results without the burnout. So if you're tired of the 11 p.m. renders and you want to build a real business, then click the link in the description to book a call with me, and we'll see if it's a good fit. But here's the thing, even if you have the perfect system, if you don't have any clients, you are still going to be broke. So watch this video next, and I'll show you exactly how to get your next client this week.